he started this. He's the one who should be paying for it, but it doesn't come out of his pocket, it comes out of our pocket.
Surging gas prices are complicating things for the Trump administration that was already dealing with affordability issues. In just the last week, the price of a gallon of regular gas jumped by more than 30 cents. So now the administration is saying this is just short-term pain at the pump for long-term gain with Iran.
We are defanging Iran's abilities to threaten American troops in the areas, its allies, its neighbors, and global energy markets. So yes, you've got to go through short-term pain to solve a long-term problem.
We spoke to drivers passing through this New Jersey gas station to ask them if that pain is worth it.
I don't think it's worth it. Like, we're paying the price of the war.
If we have to suffer through a little bit of gas prices going up, then we have to suffer through it. And it's a small pain to take for the rest of the world.
Well, as a day-to-day working class man, it definitely has an impact on my family life, not being able to afford as much. I mean, I'm 25 years old and I can hardly afford to own a house.
No matter how drivers feel, according to Gas Buddy, the national average is expected to rise by another 10 cents in just a week. And in the next couple weeks, it could get up to $4 a gallon.
Do you regret your vote right now?
Well, between him and her, I thought he was the better choice, but honestly, I miss my Uncle Joe. I was a nobody, and I was balling then. Now, I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even show you $5 in my pocket.
We spoke to Trump voters here in Florida who are ticked off about the fact that the gas prices in the state have gone up by an average of about 60 cents within just a week.
I would just wish he'd keep up on his campaign promise and say he was going to put it under $3. He'd end that war so fast. But here it is, 5 years later, helping his buddy out get his more money. And then never mind charging us Americans all sorts of money for fuel that you just stole from Venezuela.
And those gas prices are getting higher because of volatile oil prices due to the war in Iran, a war that these Trump voters tell us they hope wraps up quickly.
If I could speak to the president, I just encourage him to finish up this war and get us back to a safe world.
He's saying about for our safety, leave somebody alone, they won't bother you.
Hopefully this conflict over there will end, it's just unfortunate.
The overall vibe here at the gas pump amongst these Trump voters is they feel like the economy is not going well right now.
At the moment, I'm really out of work.
My hope is that it's temporary and it doesn't last for too long. The oil prices come back down. That's my hope.
When people see gas prices start to go up, they start to think, how long is this going to go on? How bad could it get?
Yeah, one of the things that you notice when you look at this story is how short people's attention span is for any form of pain, right? And you look back, we talk a lot about the historical perspective, and you brought up with me this morning the issue of 1973 and what that oil embargo was like. And, people waited on lines for 2 hours in the morning. And at that point, the United States had been completely cut off from oil by OPEC. We are in a totally different environment now. We're the most dominant energy producer in the world. So, I think that people just sort of need to take a breath and wait a minute for some of this to shake.
How the fuck can we take America back when these cocksuckers don't even fucking support us? Fuck these motherfuckers.
All of a sudden, all of these experts and CNBC analysts want to tell us that, Trump is raising the gas prices because of the attacks on Iran, cutting off the Straits of Hormuz so none of the ships could get through. Meanwhile, under Biden, we had higher gas prices than we do right now, and there was no war. Make it make sense.
Wow, Miss Kathy, this is embarrassing. Okay. Miss Kathy, you can't think of any wars that happened while Joe Biden was president? I'll give you a hint. It was a war that you guys complained about endlessly, even though Joe Biden had nothing to do with it starting. Nothing coming to mind? Let's take a look at these gas prices, Miss Kathy. You see where that peak is right there? Well, in February of 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine, and that threw a giant wrench into the global oil market. Now, on top of that, it was a supply and demand issue. Miss Kathy, do you remember when COVID happened and all the countries of the world shut down and everybody stopped driving to work? Well, during that time, the oil companies ramped down oil production because nobody was buying oil. Then fast forward, the vaccine comes out and all the countries of the world open back up and everybody starts driving to work again. And when that happened, the demand for oil skyrocketed. And as most of us learned as children, Miss Kathy, what happens when there's low supply and high demand? Yeah, prices go up. So COVID combined with Russia's war on Ukraine is why gasoline got so expensive in 2022. And at this point, Miss Kathy, both Trump and Caroline Leavitt have admitted that the reason gasoline jacked up in price the last few days is because of his war in Iran. It seems like you're the only person who doesn't understand that. So some advice, Miss Kathy, if you'd like to stop embarrassing yourself on here, perhaps stop yelling at experts and try listening to them. And then maybe one day you'll have a better understanding of the world that you live in. Okay? All right, good luck. All right.
Okay, good comment right there. Okay. They were hired under Biden, not because of Biden, because of COVID. And on top of that, a war with Ukraine and Russia. No, a president does not control gas prices. But it doesn't mean that their policies or actions can influence it, such as starting a fucking war. So here we go. Right here. Here's your demand. Here's your supply. Okay. Here we go. Nice, good flow. Going good. Wait. Now that demand's getting higher, okay, well, they're running out. What do they got to do? Raise prices, slow it down. That's kind of a simple concept, all right? So, going back to COVID, okay, the world was shut down. There was plenty of, hey, here we go, plenty of supply, okay, but guess what? A little demand. So here we go. You see that? Because the supply is plenty, demand's low, prices are going down. You see that? That makes sense to y'all? You got that? All right. Post-COVID. Okay. Here's your supply. Here's your demand. World opens up. Everyone's trying to get the fuck out of the house and spend some money and spend some gas too. So here we go. Here's what's happening. Oh my God, that shit is flowing. As it's flowing, the prices are going up. That's how that works. So here we go. 2026. Okay. 2024. Whatever. Post-COVID, all right, people are out of money, flow's going good, prices are slowly going down. And all of a sudden, bam, we're gonna start a war. They go back up. All right, that's how a president can influence the gas prices. He doesn't control them, but can influence. But one will go. We're in this together no matter what. I hope that makes you understand better.
Hey, MAGAs, you do not get to complain about gas prices. You do not get to complain about oil prices. You do not get to complain about grocery prices skyrocketing because shipping costs are going up. This is what you wanted, remember? This is what you voted for. You've made that perfectly clear. This is your guy. You voted for the guy who started a war in the Middle East. You cheered for the aggression. You cheered for the strikes. You cheered for the escalation. But now the oil markets are freaking out and gas prices are climbing. Suddenly you're shocked? Why? The Middle East is one of the most important oil regions on planet Earth. When you start a war there, oil prices spike. When oil prices spike, gas prices spike. When fuel prices spike, the cost of transporting literally everything goes up. That means groceries go up. That means goods go up. That means the entire economy feels it. None of this is complicated. None of this is new information. This is basic geopolitics and basic economics. So no, you do not get to act surprised. You wanted the strongman. You wanted the aggression. You wanted your guy. This is what it looks like. You voted for this. You wanted this. And now you have absolutely no room to complain about it.
So everybody's talking about how Trump's war in Iran is affecting our gas prices, but nobody's talking about how it's going to affect our grocery bills. So let's talk about it by talking about two other things affected by the shutdown of the Strait of Hormuz: diesel and fertilizer. Meet Billy and Greg Bridgeforth. They are fifth-generation farmers in Tanner, Alabama. Since Trump started this war, their diesel prices have gone from $2.99 a gallon to $5.02 in 1 week. Diesel runs every piece of equipment on their farm. It also trucks your food to the grocery store. So when diesel prices double, you're going to feel it twice. Once when farmers plant, and again when that food reaches the shelf. Now, fertilizer. Over a third of the world's traded fertilizer moves through the Strait of Hormuz. The same choke point that's shut down for oil, it's also shut down for the fertilizer that grows your food. And this isn't a problem that's going to hit in 6 months. Spring planting in the American Midwest is happening right now. Farmers need to apply fertilizer fertilizer to their fields ASAP. The window doesn't wait. In just 1 week, the week the war started, the price of urea, which is one of the most widely used nitrogen fertilizers, jumped 30% at the port of New Orleans. 30% in 7 days, and farmers are already completely strapped from Trump's tariffs. Now, some farmers in the upper Midwest were lucky. They pre-booked their fertilizer, and they have warehouses that are stocked. But the farmers who haven't locked in yet are facing prices that make it nearly impossible to turn a profit growing corn. This means that some of them are going to switch to less fertilizer-intensive crops, which means less corn, which means higher prices at the grocery store for everything corn touches, which is a lot. Now you may ask, are there alternate sources for fertilizer like in the US? Great question. Actually, Polk County, Florida sits on one of the world's largest deposits of phosphate rock, which is a key fertilizer ingredient. It's right there in the ground. But to process it, you need sulfur, and roughly half of the world's exported sulfur moves through the Strait of Hormuz. These are the kinds of things the Trump administration didn't think through before they went to war. And that is why the UN put out a report this week warning that this war is going to hit food prices hard. Americans are going to feel it at the pump, yes, but also at the checkout line. Trump started a war, the strait closed, and now it's coming for your grocery bill. It's just one more of many broken promises.
I went to the gas station last week, saw the gas was $2.47. I was like, okay, that's fine. I could fill up in the morning, it's okay. I go the following morning, gas is $3.62. $3.62. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. That's got to be a malfunction. I go inside my local gas station and I'm like, hey, something's wrong with your board. Gas was $2.47 yesterday, last night, quite literally. And now it's $3.62. What's going on? He said, no, that's not a malfunction. That's the actual prices. That is the actual prices. And they're still going up. I saw a post on here. Gas is $8 out in LA. And I know gas is always high in LA, I guess, but $8 is ridiculous. That's more than the minimum wage in most states. And this is the wrong generation to not know how to ride a bike, man. That's all I'm going to say. If you do not know how to ride a bike, if you cannot hop on a 10 speed and get and navigate through it comfortably, you might want to learn. I give it a few more months, maybe up to a year. Gas prices might hit $10. And the sad thing about all of this is we still have 2 more years of this man. God bless whoever comes in after him, because you are not getting any sleep, buddy. You're not. I'm sorry, dog. Jesus.
I remember when Biden was in office and everyone was complaining about the gas prices, about the prices of things in general. And we were all told that was a small price to pay for such a wonderful administration. Gas today, even though oil prices have risen, is still cheaper than it was under the Biden administration. Yet now Democrats decide they're upset about gas prices. Sure, I would love cheaper gas prices. Who wouldn't? But it is the hypocrisy of that party that I just cannot get behind. Hypocrisy exists within both parties. But I double down on the left because they deny its existence. And if by some small chance they will acknowledge the existence of it, there's always an excuse for it. Always a reason why it's okay. Now, since it's getting close to midterms, Democrats want you to believe that affordability matters to them. They didn't care under the Biden administration, and they do not care now. You all have a wonderful Tuesday. God bless you.
So, who's going to tell our little Jen, who I have there at the end of the video clips there, the Trump supporter who's always trying to point fingers and say, well, the Democrats did this. They were talking about this. That's their number one angle they always want to take. Well, when under Biden, under Obama, Trump has been in office for an entire year and change already. It's time to stop with the pointing of the fingers. And I hope that she realizes that she's literally talking about MAGA at the same time too, because they are the number one group of people who are going to be so oblivious to hypocrisy. And they sure do not care about affordability, even though they trick y'all into thinking so. Because this man ran on, oh, everything's going to be lower under me. Gas prices, grocery prices, all going to be down within the first 24 hours. It's been a whole 365 days and change, and that has not happened yet. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to argue with her, because when Biden was in office in 2022, I was in the House for half of his term. I'm not going to lie. So she could be right, and MAGA could be right that the gas could have been higher under Biden at that time. But what they fail to realize, and they don't want to acknowledge, even though we know they do, is because that's due to COVID and the Russia-Ukraine war, which Biden didn't start any of that. Matter of fact, Biden was still trying to clean up the mess from Trump's first term. And not to mention, the gas companies are probably like, oh, people are going outside. The world is opening up back again in 2022. So that's why it went higher. They are gonna make up for those losses they endured during the pandemic. Duh. Now, I'm not gonna lie either. Like, I will always agree with that. There's gonna be hypocrisy on both sides. I'm not saying there's not any on the Democrat side. But the way that MAGA and like some of these Republicans flip-flop when it puts them at a convenience, oh, they're going to take every opportunity. And that's the number one thing y'all are always going to try to convince us, like y'all are okay with everything all of a sudden. Because last year, y'all were still wanting everything to be cheaper. And y'all still do. But y'all are going to play dumb, like I say in every video, to make it believe like, oh, this is just what we have to accept to have something for the greater good. No, it doesn't work like that. Like, if you guys were all about, oh, reducing prices, making sure we get rid of fraud and waste, what happened to that argument? Because I'm not hearing anybody wanting to like save and do any of that right now. And that lady has a lot of nerve to say that, oh, the Democrats don't care about lowering prices and making things affordable. Excuse me, MAGA sure in the hell does not. Your own president started a war when the gas prices were what they were under Biden. That were circumstances that was not under his control. To my knowledge, I could be wrong on that. Do not quote me. Because like I said, during the pandemic, I was in the House, even in 2022. So I'm not going to claim like I know everything. And the fact that it's always still, it's just Biden this, Biden that, Obama this, Obama that. You can't blame it on him forever. Like, what is Trump going to do? We are over a year into this, and I'm still not seeing the advantages of anything that, that y'all voted him in for. Nothing is lower. Our lives are not any better for sure, even though people will try to claim like it is, but we know it's not. And now all of our lives are at jeopardy. And now people in other countries are now being affected with their oil and gas prices. All because of one damn man who just wants to be on a power trip all the time. And I find it funny that that guy who was at the gas station that tore the Trump bumper sticker off of his truck decides that's where he's had it at. Nothing else, not getting us into a war, not the Epstein files, nothing. Just higher gas prices. Now, I'm going to admit it too. Of course, we all want it to be lower. I'm not going to say, oh, he's crazy for wanting to have it lower and being mad that they jumped up. But that's where you draw the line. I know the CNN video there, they were at the Sunoco gas station in Jersey. Oh, they probably are paying so much money, because I recently found out that Sunoco is really high quality gas, and I kind of thought it was like a budget gas station, but I realized they have 94 octane gas, which I guess really the best gas or one of the best brands of gas to go for because of like the detergents and all that. So I know they're paying a pretty penny, and not to mention California, probably New York too. So I know a lot of people are feeling it. It's going up here too. I know for premium it was almost $5, and Regular, I know, has been $3.49. I don't know what it's at today. Yeah, it's getting real. And like I have in the video as well, the food prices are going to be affected by this too, because it's going to just all end up being a domino effect. Now, hopefully we might have like a 1% chance that this will be wrapped up by the end of the month. Who knows? I don't feel like that's going to be the case, but we're going to just be continuously told by them that, you know, this is not a big deal. We got to live with it. You know, hey, tough luck. And MAGA is going to pretend like it's all good in their books and they're okay with this. This is what I voted for. We'll see what happens, y'all. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I am glad to be back, as a lot of stuff has happened and has hit the fan, but I am here and we will just wait to see what happens tomorrow. Thank you guys so much again, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next video. Bye. See you later.